Hi, I'm Judy Herman, helping leaders. I may not have been on right now, but I'm Judy Herman, helping leaders and families create connection beyond conflict. I'm so glad that you joined me today. This is not a counseling session. I am a licensed counselor in the state of Tennessee. This is only a psychoeducational video about how to de-stress for the holidays. So stay tuned. I hope I can get to all 5 of them. I had 5 points. It used to be years ago that I wanted Thanksgiving to be just right. I would make a turkey for our family, and I wanted the same kind of dishes that my grandmother had made. She has this awesome cranberry salad, and it's great. And then the green bean casserole. I would do all of this for my family because we lived hundreds of miles away from our families, and basically just had Thanksgiving with us or with some friends, and I just wore myself out. What I want to encourage you to do, don't wear yourself out the day before Thanksgiving. If you can make the things ahead of time, make sure that you get your rest. Part of the stress that we experience with extended family members on Thanksgiving is because we're just totally stressed out first from cooking all the things that we've done. So give yourself a break. Make sure that you get a good 7 hours, really even more than that for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving can also be a very difficult time because it's a reminder of things that have changed. Perhaps you've had a loved one that's passed away, and this is the first time you're gathering together, and that person's not going to be here. Or perhaps you've gone through divorce, and this is another reminder you have to divide the children up between 2 homes. There's other things. There's, the isolation. Perhaps you don't have your family around, and then you're reminded of how lonely you are. But let me give you some tips that's going to help. Besides the rest, make sure you get some good rest. But secondly, there's some other things you can do. You can, like when you, especially if you're going to someone else's home or you're hosting people in your home, and there's some difficult family members that you know are going to be there. There's maybe some manipulators or people that you just haven't gotten along with. And really, our own family members, they have this attachment to us and our history, and they may be thinking of how you used to be when you were a teenager, and instead of accepting you being an adult. But here's what to do with that. First of all, just learn how to take deep belly breaths. What we're doing is we're learning how to diffuse things that will come up that will trigger us that perhaps we don't even expect. Think of this. I have this diffuser in my office, and it's really cool. I put essential oils in it. This actually happens to have peppermint. So I'm going to turn this on, and what happens, it just has this steam that diffuses this nice fragrance. So what we want to do is we want to diffuse whatever thing is triggering us. If we get hurt, if someone says something to us that is just just like, ooh, ouch. Like, for example, you might bring your very, very special dish. Maybe you've worked really hard on it and there's a lot of meaning. It's you. And then perhaps somebody makes some kind of snide remark. Oh, is that what you brought? But things like that can be very hurtful. So what do? You take deep breaths. And when you take deep breaths, it really slows things down. There's meaning to things that happen on Thanksgiving Day and other days. We can experience the very same incident, but you're going to have a different meaning than another person would. So if you take deep breaths and you realize, what's the story in my mind about this person's comment or what just happened? And if it really was a hurtful and intentionally hurtful thing, keep on taking some deep breaths. That's important. Perhaps even walk out of the room for a few minutes and then come back. Now, if you're in the middle of your meal, you probably don't want to do that and bring attention to yourself. But taking deep breaths can really help. Another thing you can do is smile. We don't want to fake smile, of course. But if you have an attitude of, I dread going, well, it's going to show on your face. If you if you have an attitude of, you know what, I'm going to make the best of this, I'm going to enjoy myself, and then intentionally put a smile on your face. Now, when you smile, there's something that happens. I talked about mirror neurons before. There's something that is triggered in other people's brains, and if you have a smile on your face, they will normally smile right back to you. And that's important because you will be a pleasant person to be around. But there's some of us that smile naturally, and others of us, it's like we were born with this stoic face. I've seen it actually on little children, their little faces, and maybe it's the muscles in their faces or something, but some people they don't mean to look mean, but they just don't have perhaps the facial muscles that makes a smile natural. Practice if you're not natural at it, and you just want to be open and aware of how others may be perceiving you when you walk in. Embrace change. I talked earlier about how very hurtful changes and losses like divorce or death, or a family member that's moved clear across the country and they're not there, and you're reminded and you miss them. What we have to eventually do, of course we need to grieve thoroughly, but we have to come to the point where we embrace change. And if this is the first Thanksgiving that you're missing your loved one, again, this is going to be difficult, and embrace that change. Take your deep breaths and just realize that is part of it. It's not an unusual thing to feel that way. And then, oh yes, stay in the present moment. I don't know what number we're on. Number 1 was make sure you get enough sleep. Number 2, smile. Number 3, embrace change. And number 4, stay in that present moment as best you can. How many times, our brains are so complicated, and the prefrontal cortex and the executive functioning of our brains, we have this capability to be thinking of things in the present, or in the future, which is where anxiety comes from, or you ruminate about the past, and that's where depression comes from. So it's good just to be able to imagine yourself standing in the middle of a stream of running water. And that running water is movement, and you are standing in one place. Think of Thanksgiving Day and being fully present as if you were standing in the middle of a stream. And sometimes visuals like that can be very helpful. Okay, I think I don't know if I've covered everything. I said 5 things, and the first one is make sure you get enough rest. Lower your expectations for yourself. We all try to do too much, don't we? Take deep belly breaths. That's number 2. And then smile is number 3. Embrace change is number 4. The 5th one, I think the 5th one is stay in the present moment. Yeah, I would love to know what you think about this. And if you're having difficulty or dread, you can always hop over to my website, judycounselor.com, and ask for a 20-minute free consultation. And but smile as best you can and take your deep breaths. That's huge. And if you do that on a daily basis between now and Thanksgiving, then you will have mastered it, and it'll really help. Thanks so much. Thanks for joining me, and appreciate you being here. Bye.